Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be talking about this post in the community forums that I answered how to completely block access to all report pages in Power BI. But before we get there, I just have to share one thing because I think it's funny about Fabric. Again, I don't do Power BI or Fabric for my living, for my work. Um, but I do get involved with it from time to time, mostly internally, because I happen to know a few things about Power BI and that. Um, so it's funny. So the company wanted to analyze like purview data. So, basically Microsoft Purview, collect that data, and they wanted to kind of analyze it in Power BI and that sort of thing. So I got involved in this project. And so they go out and make a long story short, they go out and they build a data lake house to store the purview information. They do a direct lake, they build a direct lake semantic model, okay, on with that data lake house in Fabric. So then they go and share the semantic model with me, and it works perfectly, right? Except like an hour or so later, I lose all access to it, and it's like, oh, you don't have access to the tables. And so and this happens again and again. Every time they'd share it with me, so I could build a report, I just lose access to it at some random point in the future, right? So it took several days. Like this is over the course of like this whole week that we've been trying to get this to work. And so eventually just punted, right? And we created a Dataflow Gen 2 work data flow. And then I just used that to connect to from Power BI and imported it in, and away it went. But yeah, dude, when I tell you this Fabric stuff is not ready for prime time, man. I have to deal with it every day, and it just sucks. It's terrible. Ever since Brent Ozar, complained about Microsoft not being forthcoming as far as with errors and stuff, this has gotten a lot better. But now it's just a wall of text and outages, and we're talking about stuff that last 20 days. That stuff doesn't work. You can't even create Fabric capacities, and the workaround, oh, use the REST API. I mean, it it's a clown show over there at Microsoft and with Fabric. It's just unbelievably bad. So anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about here. I just thought that was a funny story from this week that I had to share. Um, Okay, so basically what they want to do, long story short, they understand that Power BI doesn't support hiding or navigating pages dynamically using DAX. Redirecting a specific page based on a condition, right, is not natively possible. But what they want to do is they have this measure. They have this DAX measure, and it compares two data sets that are coming in, or two tables that are coming in. And if they're aligned, it returns, let's say, one. If it's not aligned, it turns zero, right? And they want if it's zero, basically they want to display just this big warning thing. It's like, oh, don't use this report. And they don't want anybody to access the data in their report because it's going to be wrong apparently if these two tables are not aligned, right? So let's see. So basically they're asking how to get this done. So I basically come back and say, okay, and present, here it is, hide the pages, create a table that holds the Power BI service URLs for all the individual pages. Anyway, it goes through its steps. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to show you like what I did. So I built it. So let's see. Let's see here. Power BI. There we go. Okay, so so the way this works is you have like your pages down here. Like this have page 2 and page 3, and then this is page 1. This will be the landing page. This will be when you publish it, right? So what you do is you publish this out. You create your pages, right? And you don't hide them. And you publish it out to the service. And then in the service, right, you grab the URLs for the individual pages. And before we go any further, I understand that this is a hokey ass workaround, right? But it's Power BI, so what do you expect? All right, so um, so what you do is you store those in a table. So I've got them stored here, right? So there's page 1, page 2, page 3. I've got them stored in this table, and I just used an enter data query. All right, so now what you do is you have your warning, right? You have your warning this is just a card visual, and it is underneath, and then I have this table visual on top of it. And this displays the URLs, right? To go from page 1, page 2, page 2, page 3. Yeah, it'd be better if these things were in order, but tough. Right. And so then I have this measure, right? And it's 1, 2, it just displays right there, but you could shrink that up or hide that, whatever. It's really what's important is that it's here in the measure in the filter pane that the measure is equal to 1. Okay. And then it shows. So I don't really need this in the table, but for for display purposes, it's fine. So now what I did is I created a couple conditional formatting measures. So if measure is 1, display FFFFFF, right? That's white or black. It's white. So it's a white background. Otherwise, it's all Fs and then 00, the transparency, right? The 2 extra hexadecimal codes on the end, right? So you put that in there to make it transparent. So if the measure is 0 or something other than 1, it's the background will be transparent, so you'll be able to see through it. And then if it's not 1, then all these rows will go away, right? And then I have this one is measure CF2 is black. I think I created this for, I was trying to use this for the columns, but of course, because it's Power BI, right? It's Power BI, so we go to column headers, and of course, there's no conditional formatting for text color. Why, Microsoft? What is wrong with you? Right? They have conditional formatting a bunch of different other places, but nope, can't conditionally format the headers. So that was a fail city because Power BI can't somehow, like you implement conditional formatting, but you like, oh, we're going to do it like half-assed. Like we're going to do it like 1 or 2 places, but not everywhere because we suck. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that just drives you nuts about Power BI once in a while. All right, so the way this works then is that if I go into my measure and I change it to 0, right? Boom, right? So now this table you can't get to any of the pages, right? And this warning is displayed. Now this does work. Let's see, I think it's in here. I was reading that. I need to open up this report in Power BI. Should have had this prepped. Okay, fancy visual switching. So this is published in Power BI. So when the measure is 1, right? This is how it displays, and then you can navigate to like page 2 with, there's page 2, and I can go back because I have a back button. I can go to page 3, I can go back. But then if it's not, then there's no pages displayed, and you're basically effectively hidden from the pages unless you somehow know the specific URL that you need to get to, this long GUID. If you can memorize that and enter that in, then you can get around it. But if you notice, it keeps opening tabs. And so this is the other thing. So stupid design, right? So Microsoft embeds the target equals blank with any URL that you click on within the interface, right? It does that behind the scenes and includes the target equals blank, which opens it up in a new tab. So basically, it opens these additional stupid tabs, right? So that's another flaw in the solution, I suppose you could say. But it's so stupid too, because you could include that as a query parameter, as part of a URL. And so I don't know why, if you wanted to open a new tab, they're just, okay, include that in the URL, right? To open it up in a new tab. But no, Microsoft, they, I think it's a dumb design decision, but what do I know? Anyway, that's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.